Recent survey of 150 owners of cars in Dubai revealed the following data. First, we're going to fill in this data. Now, the total number of BMW is 45. So, you're going to think of a number that you add with 20 gives you 45, which is 25. Next, the total number is 150, so we're going to write it here. And now, you will think of a number that you add these two with and gives you 150, which is 80. And you will think of a number you add with 40, which gives you 80, which is 40. And the same here, you're going to think of a number that you add with 80, which gives you 150, 70. Now that we filled in the table, we're going to solve. From these results, the probability that a person chosen at a random from Dubai would own a Mercedes is 4 over 15, 1 over 2, 8 over 15, or 3 over 10. We have a rule of probability, which is probability of an event happening is equals to number of ways it can happen over total number of outcomes. Now, the probability that a person chosen at random from Dubai would own a Mercedes is equal to, now the total number of outcomes we have here is 150. So you will write 150 here, and the total number of Mercedes is, so you're going to write 80 here. Now, why did we write the total number of Mercedes here? Because they're asking about the Mercedes. Now, we're going to divide this, which is equal to 8 over 50. The answer will be C. Thank you.
Giving a test to a group of students, that grades and genders are summarized below. If one student was chosen at random, find the probability that a student got an A. So we want to find the probability that a random student received an A. Looking at the table, notice how this column on here tells us the number of an A students. There were a total of 30 A students, 13 of which were a male, and 17 which were a female. Now looking at the total column in here, we noticed that the total column in 31 males took the test and 37 females took the test. Therefore, there were a total of 68 test takers. And therefore, the probability that the students chosen at random would have gotten an A would be the number of the students receiving an A, which is 30, divided by the number of students that took the test, which is 68. So equals 30 divided by 68. We do want to make sure that the fraction is in simple form. Notice that 30 and 68 do share a common factor of 2. So we're going to divide by 2 and here divided by 2. So P equals 30 divided by 2 and 68 divided by 2. And the answer is here, 1534. This is a fraction is in simple form. Let's also give the probability as a decimal. And even though it doesn't ask as a percentage, so to convert the fraction to a decimal, we will divide. So 15 divided by 34, let's round this to 4 decimals places. Approximately 0.4412. So the decimals values of is going to be an approximation 0.4412. So let's also write this as a percentage. To convert a decimal to a percentage or multiplying by 100. So this would be a P by 2, 68 divided by 2, and 15 over 34, approximately 0.4412 equals 44.12 percentage.
In a survey, 607 general surgeons and orthopedic surgeons indicated major professional activity. The results are summarized in the table above. If one of the surgeons is selected at random, which of the following is closest to the probability that the selected surgeon is an orthopedic surgeon whose indicated professional activity is research? A. 0.122, B. 0.196, C. 0.318, D. 0.379. So here the denominator is going to be 607. Okay. But the question is, which of the following is closest to the probability that the selected surgeon is an orthopedic surgeon whose indicated professional activity is research? They need the probability that we selected or choose somebody who is an orthopedic surgeon who is interested in research. So orthopedic surgeons interested in research are these 74 people. In a calculator, we're going to divide 74 by 607. The answer will be 0.122. Then the probability of the selected surgeon whose indicated professional activity is research. So as I mentioned before, the answer is 0.122. So it's A.
The table above shows the ages and genders of students in a drama club. If one student is selected randomly from the club members, what is the probability that the student will be a girl or be 11 years old? So our probability will be that the student randomly selected will be a girl or be 11 years old. These two events are not mutually exclusive, so we'll have to apply the probability of a union formula, which is the probability of the student randomly selected being a girl plus the probability of the student randomly selected being 11 years old minus the probability of
the student randomly selected being a girl and being 11 years old. So the probability of the student being a girl is 18/33, the total number of students, plus the probability of the student being 11 years old, which will be the total number of students that are 11 years old is 9. So it's 9/33, the total number of students, minus the probability of the student randomly selected being a girl and being 11 years old, which will be the total number of students is 33. So 33, 23, and 4. After adding them together, we will get 23/33. After converting it to a decimal, it will be, and rounding it to the nearest 1000, the answer will be 0.697. So the answer is C.
Mariam wants to play soccer and loves being the goalkeeper, but that depends on who is the coach today. With Coach Ahmed, the probability of being a goalkeeper is 0.5. With Coach Abdullah, the probability of being a goalkeeper is 0.3. Ahmed is a coach more often, about 6 out of every 10 games, a probability of 0.6. So what is the probability that Mariam will be a goalkeeper today? Let's build the tree diagram. First, we show the two possible coaches, Ahmed and Abdullah. We will start by drawing them like this. The probability of getting Ahmed is 0.6, so the probability of Abdullah must be 0.4. Now if Mariam gets Ahmed, there is 0.5 probability of being a goalie and 0.5 of not being a goalie. We will write it like this. Now let's calculate the overall probabilities. This is done by multiplying each probability along the branches of the tree. Here's how to do it for Ahmed Yes branch. When we take the 0.6 chance of Ahmed being the coach and include 0.5 chance that Ahmed will let Mariam be a goalkeeper, we will end up with a 0.3 chance. But we are not done yet. We haven't included Abdullah as a coach. If she got Abdullah, there is 0.3 probability of being a goalie and 0.7 not. A 0.4 chance of Abdullah as a coach followed by 0.3 chance gives 0.12. Now we add the column. 0.3 plus 0.12 equals 0.42. Probability of being a goalkeeper. That's a 42% chance. The final step is to complete the calculation and make sure they are equal to 1. 0.3 plus 0.3 plus 0.12 plus 0.28 equals to 1. So it's correct.
The table above shows the genders of students who visited a youth club over 5 days. If one student is selected randomly from the club members, what is the probability that the students will be a boy or be on Wednesday? Option A 0.868, option B 0.763, option C 0.632, and option D 0.237. Let's find out the correct option. At first, find the probability of a boy or Wednesday. Probability of boy or Wednesday. These two events are not mutually exclusive. So we'll have to use the probability of a union formula to solve this question, which is the probability of a boy or Wednesday equals probability of a boy plus the probability of Wednesday minus the probability of a boy and Wednesday. The probability of the boys is the total of 24 over the total number of students in the youth club plus the probability of Wednesday is the total students who attended on Wednesday. 9 students attended over the total of 38 students minus the probability of boys and Wednesday is the total of boys who attended on Wednesday. 4 boys attended over the total of 38 students. 4 over 38 students equals 29 over 38. To convert it to decimal, the correct answer is 0.763. Since we converted 29 over 38, the correct option is B, 0.763. The table above shows the genders of students who visited a youth club over 5 days. If one student is selected randomly from the club members, what is the probability that the students will be a boy or be on? First, find the probability of a boy or Wednesday. Probability of boy or these two events are not mutually exclusive. So we'll have to use the probability of a union formula to solve this question, which is the probability of a boy or Wednesday equals probability of a boy plus the probability of Wednesday minus the probability of a boy, and the probability of the boys is the total of 24 over the total number of students plus the probability of Wednesday is the total students who attended on Wednesday. 9 students attended over the total of 38 students minus the probability of boys and Wednesday is the total of boys who attended on Wednesday. 4 boys attended over the total of 38 students. 4 over 30. 29 over 38. To convert it to decimal, the correct answer is 0.76.
The question says the tree diagram shows the composition of a box of used color markers in a classroom. There are 2 red markers, 4 green markers, and 6 blue markers. Let's write them down. So 2 red markers, 4 green markers, and 6 blue markers. 1/2 of the red markers have dried out. So half of the 2 red markers are dried. So one of the red markers are dried and the other one of the red marker is not dried. 25% of the green markers are dry. So 25% of the 4 green markers are dry, which is only 1 dried green marker, and the other 3 green markers are not dried. And 50% of the blue markers are dry. Half of the 6 blue markers are dried. So 3 of the blue markers are dried, and the other 3 of the blue markers are not dried. What is the approximate probability that a marker randomly selected from the box will be dried out? A. 0.063, B. 0.417, C 0.333, D 0.538. So they're asking us the probability of a marker randomly selected from the box will be dried out. So let's write it here. A marker randomly selected from the box will be dried out. So now, in order to find the probability, we're going to do as a fraction. The bottom of the fraction will be the total number of the markers. So there are 2 red markers, 4 green markers, and 6 blue markers. In total, there are 12 markers. And they are asking us for the markers that are dried out. So there are one dried red marker, 1 dried green marker, and 3 dried blue markers. In total, there are 5 markers that are dried out. So this is the answer as a fraction. However, we want it as a decimal. So as a decimal, it will be 0.417. So the answer is B. The answer is B. Hope you understand. Thank you.
The mean value theorem guarantees the existence of a special point on the graph of y equals the square root of x between x1, 0 and y1, 0. And the second point is x2 is 4 and y2 is 2. What are the coordinates of this point? Step 1. When given 2 points, find it using the formula of the slope of secant line, which is m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Now, evaluate the points that are given. We will have 2 minus 0 as given in the points here over 4 minus 0. Using calculator, we will end up with 1 over 2. Step 2. Find the slope of tangent line by taking the derivative of y. We have here y equals the square root of x. Convert radical to power form. We will end up having it in x to the power of 1 over 2. Now by using power rule, we will get y prime 1 over 2 x to the power of negative 1 over 2. We're still not done yet. We will have to convert it back to the radical form, which will end up with 1 over 2 the square root of x. Step 3. Find the value of x. Now we have the slope of secant line, which is 1 over 2 equals the slope of tangent line, which is 1 over 2 and the square root of x. In mathematics, we can flip the fraction and we will end up with 2 equals 2 the square root of x. Now, to have x alone in one side, we will have to divide each side by 2. 2 and 2 will cancel out here. we would be left over with the square root of x and 1, since 2 over 2 equals 1. And now we will have to get rid of the square root. How to get rid of the square root? We will have to square. And here the square root will cancel out, x equals 1. The correct answer is option A, because x is 1 and y is 1. Option 2 isn't correct because x is 2. Option C isn't correct as well because x is 2, and D isn't correct because x is 1 over 2.
Let f be the function f of x equals square root of 4x minus 3. What are all of the values of c that satisfy the mean value theorem of differential calculus on the closed interval 1 is less than or equals x, and x is less than or equals 3? To find c, we're going to use this equation. f c prime is equals to f of b minus f of a over b minus a. So we're going to put 1 as a and 3 as b. Our first step here is to find f of a and f of b. So f of a is equals to f of 1, and we're going to replace x by 1. So square root of 4 times 1 minus 3 is equals to 1. And f of b is equal to f of 3 equals square root of 4 times 3 minus 3 is equals to 3. And then the second step is to find the derivative of f of x. First, we're going to rewrite the equation without the square root. We're going to remove the square root. So f of x is equal to, we're going to put 4x minus 3 as it is between brackets to the power of 1 over 2, because square root of x is equals to x to the power of 1 over 2. And now we're going to find the derivative. To find the derivative of f of x, we're going to use the chain rule. We're going to multiply 1 over 2 by the number in front of the bracket. So 1 over 2 times 1 is 1 over 2. And then we're going to bring down 4x minus 3 as it is. 1 over 2 minus 1 is equals to negative 1 over 2 times the derivative of 4x minus 3. The derivative of 4x minus 3 is 4. Now we want the equation to go back to square root. We're going to rewrite it in square root form. So f prime of x is equal to 1 over 2 times 4 is 2 over, since the power is negative, we're going to put the square root down, and we're going to put 4x minus 3 inside the square root. The third step is we're going to use this equation now. So f prime of c is this one. So we're going to write 2 over square root 4x minus 3 is equals to f of b is 3 and f of a is 1. So 3 minus 1 over b is 3 and a is 1. So 3 minus 1. So we're going to have 2 over square root of 4x minus 3 is equal to 1. And now to find x, we're going to use cross multiplication. Square root of 4x minus 3 times 1 is square root of 4x minus 3. And 2 times 1 is 2. To get rid of the square root, we're going to square both sides to get rid of the square roots. So 4x minus 3 is equals to square both sides to get rid of the square roots. So 4x minus 3 is equals to 4. We're going to move 3 to the other side. It's going to be plus 4x is equals to 7. To let x be alone, we're going to divide both sides by 4. So x is equal to 1.75. So c is equal to 1.75. We're going to check if 1.75 is between 1 and 3, and it is, so our answer is correct.
Let f be the function f of x equals x to the power of 3 plus 6x squared plus 6. What are all of the values of c that satisfy the mean value theorem of differential calculus on the closed interval -6, 0? So first, let us write the function given, which is f of x equals to x to the power of 3 plus 6x squared plus 6x, and the interval which is given -6 and 0. -6 will be A and 0 will be B. And the equation for the mean value theorem is f of prime of C equals to f of B minus f of A over B minus A. What do we mean by f prime of C is the derivative of the function. So let's start with it. The derivative of x to the power of 3 plus 6x squared plus 6x is 3x squared plus 12x plus 6 equals to f of b minus f of a over b minus a. How to get f of b is to substitute 0 with the main function. So f of 0 equals, in brackets, 0 to the power of 3 plus 6 in brackets 0 squared plus 6 in brackets 0, which will give us an answer of 0. Then we do the same thing to get f of a by substituting it by -6. So f of -6 equals to, in brackets, -6 to the power of 3 plus 6 in brackets -6 squared plus 6 in brackets -6, which will give us -36. So 3x squared plus 12x plus 6 equals to f of b, which is 0 minus 36 over b minus a, which is 0 minus 6, which will give us an answer of positive 36. So negative will turn to positive, and also positive 6. So 3x squared plus 12x plus 6 equals to 36 over 6, which is also equals to 6. So now 3x squared plus 12x plus 6 equals to 6. We need to turn this function to equals to 0. So we changed the place of the positive 6 to the other side, so it will be negative 6. So 3x squared plus 12x would equal to 0. Now we need to solve for x. We can do it by factorizing. We have a common factor of 3x. So 3x, and out of the bracket, then in bracket, x plus 4. Because 3x multiplied by x will give us 3x squared, and 3x multiplied by 4 will give us 12x. So now we solve for each one. So 3x equals to 0. Then we have x plus 4 equals to 0. We can change the place of the positive 4 to the other side, so it will be x equals to 4 and to negative 4. Now we have the interval, so c should be greater than negative 6 but less than 0, and the only number between those is negative 4. So 0 is impossible. That's why the answer will be only negative 4, which is option B.
Let f be the function. F of x equals x to the power 3 plus 6x squared plus 6x. What are all of the values of c that satisfy the mean value theorem of differential calculus on the closed intervals? A and B. Okay, here we have the f of x. In this situation, we will use this formula. F prime of c equals fb minus fa over b minus a. As we know here, f prime, which is the derivative, will take this derivative of f of x, which is 3x to the power 2 plus 12x plus 6 equals b minus c minus a, which is 0 minus minus 6, which will give us a plus. Then we put, instead of x, negative 6 and 0. Let us try it. Equals 0 to the power 3 plus 6 upper bracket 0, then squared plus 6 upper bracket 0. Here we will get 0. Then we will try with the negative 6, which is the a. F upper bracket negative 6 equals upper bracket negative 6 to the power 3 plus 6 upper bracket negative 6 squared plus 6 upper bracket negative 6. Here we will get a negative 36. Then we put here 0 minus minus the 36. Here we will translate to positive 0 plus 36 over 0 plus 6, which will give us a 6. Then we just put the 3x to the power 2 plus 12x plus 6, which is 6. Then here we can see the same term, and we just cancel it and put it as equal to 0 plus 12x plus equals to 0. Then we use our calculator. Then we put the a and the b and the c. I will show you now. The a we have 3, and the b is 12, and the c is 0. This for the quadratic function. Then with the calculator The A is 3, and the B is 12, and the C is 0.
We press mode, then 5, 3. Now A is equal to 3, and B is equal to 12, and C is 0. Then we will get x1 equals to -4 and x2 equals 0.
Here we will get x1 equals -4, and x2 we will get 0. As we know, we want the between these two numbers, which is the value of c. Here the b we know is the 0. This cannot be the answer, and the -4 is between these two numbers, and this is the final answer.
Let f be the function. F of x equals x to the power 3 minus 3x squared. What are all of the values of c that satisfy the mean value theorem of differential calculus on the closed interval 0 to 3? So here we have the function, which is f of x equals to x to the power of 3 minus 3x squared. And here we have the coordinate or the interval, which is 0 and 3. 0 is A and 3 is B. So now the equation for the mean value theorem is f prime f of c equals to f of b minus f of a over b minus a. So what do we mean by f of prime of c is the derivative of the function of f of x, which is 3x squared minus 6x equals to f of b minus f of a over b minus a. So the first thing, we change x to c, just we change the letter. So to be 3c squared minus 6c equals. Now we need to find the value of f of b. So we just take b, which is 3, and we plot it instead of x. So f of 3 equals to 3 to the power of 3 minus 3 in brackets 3 squared, which equals to 0. And for f of a, we do the same thing, but instead of 3, it's 0. Equals 0 to the power of 3 minus 3 in bracket 0 squared equals to 0. So now 3c squared minus 6c equals to 0 minus 0 over b, which is 3, minus a, which is 0. So 3c squared minus 6c equals to 0. So now we need to find the value of c by expanding it. So we have a common factor of 3c. So we do it as 3c and we open a bracket c minus 2, which will give us 3c squared minus 6c equals to 0. Now we solve for each one. So 3c equals to 0. C minus 2 equals to 0. We can swap the place of -2, which will give us c equals to +2. So now we have two intervals. What do we do? As we can see, we have the interval of 0 and 3. So c should be between 0 and 3. So 0 is impossible. So the correct answer will be c equals to 2, which is option C.
The volume of a cone of radius r and height of h is given by V equal 1 over 3 pi r squared h if the radius and the height both increase at a constant rate of 1 over 2 centimeters per second. At what rate in cubic centimeters per second is the volume increasing when the height is 9 centimeter and radius is 6 centimeter? So the formula of the volume of a cone is given as V equal 1 over 3 pi r square h. What also given, the radius and the height both increase at a constant rate of 1 over 2 centimeter per second, which means dr over dt equals to 1 over 2, and dh over dt equal to 1 over 2. To find what rate in cubic centimeter per second is the volume increasing, we need to take the derivative of the volume. So it will be dv over dt equals to 1 over 3 pi, we open the bracket. So we take the derivative of r square and keep h as it is. The derivative of r square is 2r times dr over dt. So 2r times dr over dt times h plus, we take the derivative of h and keep r square as it is. The derivative of h is dh over dt. So it will be r squared here plus r squared times dh over dt. We close the bracket. Then we need to write the given. So as the given gave us dr over dt equals to 1 over 2 and dh over dt equal 1 over 2. H is 9 centimeter. H is height, and R is the radius, which is 6 centimeter. 6 centimeter. I'm going to substitute these values. So it will be dv over dt equals to 1 over 3 pi. Then we open a bracket, which should be 2 times 6 times 1 over 2 times 9 plus 6 squared times 1 over 2 times 1 over 2. So now I am going to simplify using calculator. So it will be dv over dt equals to 1 over 3 pi equals to 72. So this 72 we divide it by 3. So here 72 divided by 3, we get the answer 24 pi. So this answer corresponds with the answer C. Thank you very much. I hope you did understand.